Imagine this: a single year, a nation grappling with a global pandemic, massive civil unrest, a nail-bitingly close election. And inside the corridors of power, officials are wrestling with loyalty, duty, the very definition of democracy.
It's almost hard to fathom, isn't it? How does one leader's approach, their personality, shape such an incredibly turbulent time?
Exactly. And that's what we're diving into today, using I Alone Can Fix It, Donald J. Trump's Catastrophic Final Year by Carol Leonnig and Philip Rucker as our roadmap.
And this isn't just any book. Leonnig and Rucker are Pulitzer Prize-winning journalists.
Right.
They've done this incredibly deep reporting here. It reads almost like a novel, reconstructing 2020, which you could argue was one of the most chaotic years in modern American history.
Yeah, meticulously reported is the word. They talked to, over 140 people?
Over 140, yeah.
Great.
High-ranking officials, key witnesses. They really aimed for that behind-the-scenes view, trying to understand not just what happened, but the how and the why behind the decisions. It's a rare glimpse into the Oval Office during multiple national crises hitting all at once.
So our goal here is to unpack the biggest insights from the book, to really help you get the essence of this historical account quickly. Cut through the noise, get to the core. Before we properly jump in, just a quick heads up. You are experiencing a unique two-host AI conversation powered by Google's NotebookLM, designed for a deeper, more dynamic book analysis.
Okay, so where does the book start? Right at the beginning of the storm, basically.
It does. It opens with this almost quiet alarm bell. New Year's Eve, 2019. An email from a CDC scientist over in Beijing.
Yeah, flagging these weird pneumonia cases in Wuhan. And it wasn't just a blip. The authors detail how by late January 2020, National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien and his deputy Matt Pottinger gave Trump a really serious briefing.
How serious are we talking?
They apparently told him point blank this new virus would be the biggest thing for his re-election year. Not just a health issue, but a massive political challenge. The scale of the threat was clear.
But the response, that went a different way, didn't it? That's where the book highlights this really stark contrast.
Exactly. This is fascinating. The authors use Bob Woodward's recorded interviews. Privately, Trump is acknowledging the virus is deadly stuff. He even says it's more deadly than even your strenuous flu.
Wow. Okay, so he understood the severity privately.
It seems so, based on those tapes. But then, publicly, the book details him consistently downplaying it, saying it would miraculously go away, comparing it to the regular flu.
That disconnect. The book argues it had huge consequences, right, for how the country prepared, or rather didn't prepare.
Devastating consequences. And crucially, Leonnig and Rucker argue this wasn't just like a mistake or misjudgment. They frame it as a deliberate choice.
Driven by what?
Politics, mostly. The book's core argument here is that Trump viewed the pandemic primarily as a political problem, a threat to his re-election, not first and foremost a public health crisis.
So things like the economy, the rallies, those took precedence over the science.
That's the picture the book paints, yeah. Prioritizing optics over the scientific guidance from people like Dr. Fauci or Dr. Birx on the task force. The authors describe a lot of frustration among those experts trying to get accurate info out there when the focus was so much on, managing the message.
So as 2020 marches on, the pandemic is raging, but then another crisis explodes onto the scene.
Right. Spring 2020, the killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis.
And the country just ignites widespread protests. How does the book cover Trump's reaction to that?
It details how the protests escalated tensions, and it focuses on a specific moment. Trump being taken down to the White House bunker during unrest in D.C.
Which apparently really bothered him.
Yes, but what the authors highlight as really revealing is his intense focus afterwards, not on the protests themselves or the reasons behind them, but on who leaked the news about him going to the bunker.
So perception of strength was paramount.
That's the implication, according to the authors. This obsession with controlling the narrative, with appearing strong.
This period, with these twin crises, it really puts a spotlight on leadership under pressure. And the book introduces a key figure here, General Mark Milley.
Yeah, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He becomes absolutely central to the narrative. Leonnig and Rucker report he was deeply alarmed by Trump's rhetoric, particularly around the protests and later election fraud claims.
How alarmed?
To the point where he privately compared it to Hitler's rise. He apparently called it a Reichstag moment.
That is chilling. A right sag moment.
It's incredibly strong language, right? It shows the depth of his fear that democratic processes were being threatened, especially with Trump expressing this desire to deploy active duty military against protesters.
And the book quotes Trump regretting not using the military.
Yes. There's a quote where Trump says he regretted he didn't use the military right away against the Black Lives Matter protesters. It really highlights the internal battle happening within the administration, within the Pentagon.
So you had these intense clashes behind the scenes. The book talks about Defense Secretary Mark Esper too, right?
Absolutely. Esper publicly pushed back against using the Insurrection Act to deploy troops domestically against protesters. That was a huge moment.
A public break, essentially.
A very public break. It created this institutional roadblock. Leonnig and Rucker detail how Milley and others in the military leadership really worked to resist Trump's demands, delaying, questioning the legality, pushing back.
It suggests the system held, but maybe just barely, relying on individuals.
Exactly. The book really emphasizes how much seemed to depend on the choices of a few key people who decided to uphold those norms, those guardrails.
Okay, so fast forward past the summer. We're heading into the election and its aftermath. Another storm brewing.
A political hurricane, really. The book meticulously outlines Trump's strategy to claim victory early on election night.
Before all the mail-in ballots, which were expected to lean Democratic, could be counted.
Precisely. It was a deliberate plan. And the authors describe his absolute fury when Fox News called Arizona for Biden. That seemed to be a major turning point the moment his strategy really started to fray.
And that's when Rudy Giuliani steps up.
He really takes center stage then. The book calls him a key enabler. There's this reported quote from Trump, "Okay, Rudy, you're in charge. Go wild. Do anything you want."
Go wild. And his legal team? The book isn't kind.
No, it describes them as whack jobs feeding Trump these increasingly bizarre conspiracy theories about a stolen election. Instead of actual legal strategy, it was more about, well, chaos and baseless claims, lawsuits failing left and right.
It paints a picture of real desperation in that inner circle.
Definitely. A descent into, well, an alternate reality based on these conspiracy theories.
Amidst all this, Attorney General William Barr plays a crucial role, doesn't he, according to the book?
Hugely important.
Yeah.
Leonnig and Rucker detail his journey. He'd been seen as a loyalist, but he eventually hit a breaking point over the election fraud stuff.
He publicly stated there was no widespread fraud.
Yes, a direct contradiction to Trump. It was a massive moment. The book describes this incredibly dramatic meeting on December 1st, 2020. Barr offers his resignation after laying out the facts.
Andra.
Apparently slams his hand on the Resolute desk and shouts, "Accepted! Accepted!" Just pure fury. It really shows the split. The pressure officials were under loyalty versus constitutional duty.
That tension is a constant theme. It makes you think. Actually, for more analysis that prompts that kind of reflection on complex topics, you can check out Mindful Moments. That's our YouTube channel. It features AI book analysis designed to inspire that kind of thought.
Good point, because the pressure just keeps mounting as we head towards the climax of the book, January 6th.
Right, the attack on the Capitol. And the book reveals General Milley's fears were escalating dramatically by then.
He genuinely feared a coup attempt. The authors quote him telling his deputies starkly, "You can't do this without the military. You can't do this without the CIA and the FBI. We're the guys with guns."
Wow, that's direct. The alarm wasn't just mild concern. It was about the fundamental stability of the government.
Absolutely. The book reconstructs these frantic calls, these meetings where military and civilian leaders were trying to figure out how to prevent unlawful orders, how to ensure a peaceful transfer of power.
And there was talk among the Joint Chiefs about resigning.
Yes, resigning en masse rather than follow illegal orders. They apparently called it a Saturday night massacre in reverse.
Referencing Nixon. That speaks volumes about the perceived danger.
It really does. And then there's the detail about House Speaker Nancy Pelosi calling Milley, worried about Trump having access to the nuclear codes after the Capitol attack. It shows how deep the concerns about his state of mind went right across the government.
It paints this picture of democracy really on edge. Saved, perhaps, by individuals choosing duty.
That seems to be a central argument of the book. Okay, so let's maybe step back and look at how the book portrays these key players overall and the bigger themes.
Good idea. Let's start with Trump himself. How is he depicted in these final months?
Consistently as being driven by self-interest, almost unable to separate his personal needs, especially the need to stay in power, from the national interest. The authors use words like increasingly manic and unreasonable.
And his actions regarding the pandemic, the election, January 6th, They're all framed through that lens.
Yes, as stemming from that core motivation, according to Leonnig and Rucker's reporting.
Then you have General Milley, you mentioned, emerges as a kind of hero figure in the narrative.
The book definitely positions him that way. The primary hero, fearing for democracy, taking these extraordinary steps behind the scenes to prevent what he saw as a potential coup, his resistance is portrayed as critical.
And William Barr, the loyalist who broke ranks.
Exactly. His journey from loyal AG to publicly refuting the election fraud claims is shown as a pivotal moment, calling the legal theories whack jobs that, quote, really stuck. His departure was significant.
What about Giuliani?
Portrayed pretty much as the enabler-in-chief, the one feeling the conspiracy theories, driving the chaotic legal challenges, almost the architect of that specific effort to overturn the election.
And others, like Esper, Pence.
Esper is highlighted for his courage in opposing the use of military force against protesters, which cost him his job. Pence is shown as increasingly isolated, especially after refusing to bow to pressure on January 6th.
And Mark Meadows, the chief of staff.
Kind of portrayed as trying to manage the unmanageable, but often ending up enabling Trump's worst impulses, walking a very difficult tightrope, perhaps not always successfully, according to the authors. And finally, the COVID task force folks, Fauci, Birx.
Right. Depicted as scientists trying to do their jobs, provide guidance, but constantly battling political interference and a president focused on optics over public health, their struggle really underscores that theme.
So pulling it all together, what are the big overarching themes the book leaves you with?
Well, first, definitely the corruption of presidential power. How the office itself was, according to the authors, weaponized for personal political gain across multiple crises.
Which leads right into the fragility of democratic institutions. It wasn't just about laws on paper, it was about individuals making choices under immense pressure. Milley, Barr, Esper, the book suggests they were crucial guardrails.
And it makes you wonder, what if they hadn't been there or had chosen differently?
Exactly. That fragility is palpable in the narrative. Then there's the theme of information warfare and truth.
Yeah, Trump's relationship with facts, his ability, as the book shows, to create and sustain these alternative realities, and how that permeated everything.
Which forced officials into that difficult choice. Loyalty versus constitutional duty. A fundamental conflict the book explores through many different characters.
And finally, the book itself, right, as an example of investigative journalism as accountability.
Absolutely. The deep reporting, the documentation, it acts as a check on power, a way of holding officials accountable by creating this detailed historical record. It's a testament to that role of journalism.
So the legacy of I Alone Can Fix It. It's really significant as a historical document, isn't it? A record of this democratic stress test.
Immensely significant. Critics see it as a definitive account of that final year, thanks to the level of access and meticulous detail. It really shapes our understanding of that period.
And it highlights the power of that kind of in-depth reporting.
It does. And just a reminder for our listeners, for more deep dives like this one, exploring complex issues and books, check out Mindful Moments on our YouTube channel, and also explore our other analyses here on our podcasts. They're all designed to encourage that kind of reflection and rational thought.
So the big question the book leaves us with, perhaps, what does this story of 2020 teach us about protecting democracy, about the resilience needed?
And about individual courage. The fact that it often comes down to individuals standing by their oath, even under unimaginable pressure.
That the strength of democracy isn't just in its structures, but in the people willing to defend them.
Yeah, that those guardrails we talk about, they aren't abstract. They're the choices people make every day.
Click the link on screen for the in-depth book analysis. Subscribe, share, purchase via link, and most importantly, think critically.